Hi, boys and girls. It's time for art class. My name is Miss Melissa. Guess what we're going to be learning about today? The human body. Our bodies, from our head all the way down to our toes. We will get to draw all of the tiny cells that make up the tissues inside of our body. It will actually look something like this. Do you know a fancy name for creating tiny drawings inside of a square? These are called thumbnail sketches. Can you say that with me? Thumbnail sketches. Thumbnail sketches help us to observe all of the tiny details of an object. They are also great to use when you want to learn about how something looks and how it works. I'll show you the supplies that you'll need to create your own thumbnail sketches so we can start making them together. You are going to need 2 sheets of white paper, just like this. You are also going to need a couple of pencils and an eraser. Also, last thing you'll need is a black marker. Boys and girls, I wanted to show you a couple of things before we started. Take a look at these 2 books. On the left, you will see a dinosaur with a boy riding on his neck. This is called Danny and the Dinosaur. On the right, you will see boys and girls with a large picture of a girl that shows the insides of her body. It's called Looking Into My Body. Out of both of these books, which one do you think is fiction and which one do you think is nonfiction? If you remember, fiction is make-believe, something that is not real, and nonfiction is based on facts. It could be based on history. It tells the truth about things that happen in real life. Did you figure out which one is fiction and which one is nonfiction? Very good. Danny and the Dinosaur is a fiction book. It's make-believe. It's a great story, but it's not real. Looking Into My Body is nonfiction. It's based on real things in life, facts about our body. Let's take a look inside this nonfiction book. I want to focus on this picture right here. Do you see this red circular shape and how it's repeated? Do you know what these red circular shapes are? These are blood cells. And did you know that blood cells travel inside of our body through veins? And that is part of our connective tissue. We're going to be learning about blood cells and connective tissue with our thumbnail sketches. First, we're going to fold the paper many times and make lots of straight lines on the crease. Now, boys and girls, you're just watching me. You're not doing anything, you're just watching. Besides straight lines, we're going to be drawing lots of curvy lines going in many directions. We're even going to draw some wavy lines. And the two shapes that you will see a lot of today, especially when drawing all of the cells, will be circles and ovals. Okay, boys and girls, what I want you to do is go ahead and get your 2 sheets of white paper out, and we're going to stack them up and fold them several times before we actually start drawing our thumbnail sketches of cells and tissues, okay? So what I want you to do is follow along and copy off of me. We're going to fold. Take your 2 sheets of paper and stack them. And I want you to turn your paper side to side. If you've worked with me before, we folded lots of paper. We're going to fold both of them at the same time, just like in the shape of a book. You're just going to bring over one end, make sure the lines of the sides and the corners touch, and then you make a crease once they touch, just like that. The next thing I'd like you to do, so watch, we're going to fold it in half again, except we're going to take the bottom of our paper and fold it going up. It's going to make like a tiny book. Make sure the sides and the corners touch and make a crease just like that. Now we're going to fold it one more time. We're going to take the bottom again and fold it going up. Use the muscles in your fingers. You see that? Once the sides and the corners touch, you press and then you make a crease. It looks like a tiny rectangle going across. So this is our last fold. Now we're going to open it up. Let's see. So if you open your paper, you're going to get 2 pages. Each page looks the same. So I'm going to focus on one right now and put one aside. I'd like you to do the same. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's count how many rectangles we have from folding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should have 8 rectangles on each page. Now what I want you to do is take your pencil and we are going to 1, 2, 3. After the 3rd rectangle, I want you to draw a straight line at the bottom, just like this. Boys and girls, we're going to glue this paper to our other paper, and I'm sorry I forgot to tell you to get your glue sticks out, so you may need to pause the video and get your glue sticks out. So please watch. Once you open your glue, you're going to rub glue on the 3 rectangles going across. And you could even make a border inside of those 3 rectangles. We are not putting glue where we drew the line. Do not put glue on the bottom. Now you're going to take your other paper and you're going to place it right on top of where you just added the glue. And press. So we just glued this paper on top of our 3 rectangles where we put glue on both sides, and we're pressing. Now you should have how many rectangles? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side. Very good. Now I need you to take your black marker. You're still copying off of me. And we're going to trace straight down the middle where the crease is. And then we're going to trace across each crease. Boys and girls, your paper should have 5 rectangles on each side. So what I want you to do now is copy off of me. On this side of our rectangles, we are going to draw cells. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to draw 4 types of cells. Did you know that cells are the smallest living things? And it's our body's building blocks, where everything in our body starts from. They are microscopic and tiny. Our body has billions of cells. And we're going to draw 4 types today. Now, on this side, I want you to write the word tissue in the same place that I'm writing. Did you know that a tissue is a group of cells? Our cells make up all of our tissues. We need cells to have tissue. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 types of tissue. We only need our pencil from this point forward. We may use the marker at the end. So go ahead and grab your pencil and I'll show you an example, just like this. See? This is what we're going to be making today. We're going to separate the names of all the cells from our thumbnail sketch, which is a tiny drawing. We need to separate the name of the tissues with our drawings of the tissues. So, grab your pencil, and I want you to put a dot right in the middle of your top rectangle. And take a guess. We're just going to guess. And then you are going to draw a straight line right down the middle of your cell rectangles. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Put a dot at the top rectangle and draw a straight line down on the tissue side of your paper. And now we are ready. Please copy these words off of me. First, we're going to write the word nerve so we can draw our nerve cells. Next, we're going to write the word muscle so we can draw our muscle cells. Then we're going to write the word blood so we can draw our blood cells. And lastly, we're going to write the word bone so we can draw our bone cells. All right, boys and girls, let's start drawing what these cells look like. Do you ever get a tingly sensation in your arm? Like if it falls asleep because you were laying on it too long? That would be your nerves tingling. Let's draw what a nerve cell looks like together. I want you to make kind of a just wobbly circle. And I would like you to draw some skinny ovals connected to that circle. Now, it doesn't matter if it's just like this, as long as you stay inside this thumbnail sketch. After you draw some skinny ovals, I want you to draw some wavy lines, some short ones and some long ones coming from this weird looking object. And then we're going to draw 2 wavy lines coming from each ending. These are like nerve endings, right? We're drawing 1 nerve cell. And you're copying off of me. So we just use kind of a bumpy, odd shape with wavy lines and skinny ovals. So that's what a nerve cell looks like. Now let's go on to our muscle cell. And these are what muscle cells look like. I'm going to draw a few of them. I always think of an egg over easy. It's just a blob with a circle in it. Some are longer and some are shorter than others. these cells are located inside of our muscles. I'm just going to draw about 3. They're just kind of bumpy or curvy lines with a circle in the middle. And I just drew 3. You could draw a few more if you would like. So you're using curvy lines or bumpy lines with a circle in the middle. It looks like a fried egg or an egg over easy. These are the muscle cells. Have you ever maybe rode your bike too long or went jumping on a trampoline? Maybe you were skating, hiking, or running, and the top parts of your leg felt really sore? You were using your muscles. All right, now I'm going to move on to blood cells. Keep in mind, boys and girls, you are copying off of me. Now, blood cells are in the shape of a circle. You guessed it. Let's go ahead and draw 3 blood cells. And inside the circle of our blood cells, if you were to look at it close up, you would see another circle, and we can kind of shade that in a little bit. It kind of looks like some donuts, doesn't it? So here are 3 examples of blood cells. They're in a circular shape. Circle on the outside, circle in the inside. Do you ever notice the purple lines under your skin's surface? Maybe they look blue. Mine look kind of bluish purple. This right here, these are our veins. This is how our blood travels. So we have blood cells inside of our veins. Now I'm going to move on to bone cell. Now, what I want you to do in the middle of your square, I want you to draw an oval, a nice skinny oval, and then I want you to draw like a big wavy line blob around that oval. I'm going to show you what a bone cell looks like. Now, on the edge of that big wavy line, you're going to draw some more wavy lines. And we're going to put 2 little wavy lines coming off of those. This is what a bone cell looks like. It is made of an oval in the center with wavy lines all the way around and wavy lines coming off of the big wavy line. Bones help us stay very strong. It helps us to stand strong. Now, if you fall or break a bone, you won't be able to use that body part until the bone is healed. I've actually broken 2 bones before. So boys and girls, what I'd like you to do is finish drawing all of your different types of cells. Since cells make tissues, let's see what these tissues would look like. What would a nerve tissue look like? What I want you to do is copy off of me. As soon as you're done drawing your cells, I want you to write the word nerve to show our nerve tissue. Then we're going to show our what? Muscle tissue. You're going to rewrite the word muscle. Now, both the blood and the bone together make up something called connective tissue. So right here, please pay attention. You're going to write the word connective tissue, because our blood, and we can draw an arrow, and our bone is going to make up connective tissue. Now watch, since we're going to have 2 pictures to draw, please look, boys and girls, take your pencil and draw a straight line down the middle of this square thumbnail sketch. This is going to be the blood, and this one's going to be the bone. our blood connective tissue is going to go here, and our bone connective tissue is going to go there. So just copy off of me. Now, our last type of tissue is going to be called epithelial. Epithelial. I'm kind of sounding it out while I spell it. And we're going to draw our epithelial tissue here. Okay, boys and girls, do you see how you have one nerve cell? Draw an arrow so we can show what our nerve tissue looks like. It's actually called nervous tissue, I think, but that's okay. Basically, it's a bunch of these together. So you can draw a couple of wobbly circles, and I want you to draw wavy lines coming out from these wobbly circles. You see that? And then we're going to draw some little wavy lines coming off of the wavy lines we just drew. This is our nervous tissue. You see how everything's connecting? You can add more if you'd like. You can fill up the whole thumbnail sketch with what your nervous tissue would look like. Now, let's look at our muscle cells. Draw an arrow so we can find out what our muscle tissue will look like. We're going to draw all these muscle cells in one big muscle. So go ahead and draw a big oval. This is going to be the top of our leg, like your leg muscles that you use. We're going to draw a giant leg muscle. All right, now put your pencil kind of in the middle on the left and just kind of curve out like that. It almost looks like a Pac-Man. And we're going to draw a curvy line going through. That's the top part of our leg, and this is the bottom part of our leg. These little muscle cells will fill up the inside of all of this muscle tissue. You see how that works? This muscle tissue is made up of all of these muscle cells, and here is our leg muscle. All right, I'm going to show you what our connective tissue looks like with blood cells. Do you remember that book that I showed you with all of those blood cells going down that tube, or really our vein? Well, that's what connective tissue is. So we're going to draw a tiny oval inside of this rectangle, and we're going to make a curve, and we're going to put another curvy line and draw another oval. So we have two curves with an oval in between. Boys and girls, these blood cells are traveling inside of this connective tissue, which is really our vein. That's what our connective tissue is. It's our veins. Pretty neat, huh? Let's see what connective tissue would look like that is made of bone. See how my arrow's right here? We have two types of connective tissue. Blood and bone. Very good. Well, you know what a bone looks like, right? Watch me. We're going to make one curve and two. Make two curvy lines and come straight down. And watch. Gonna curve under, in, and back out again. And there is a bone. So it's two curvy lines with a bump in the middle. Go straight down and draw two curvy lines again. So basically, these bone cells are all inside of this connective tissue of a bone. These cells make up this bone connective tissue. Just like our blood cells are inside of this vessel, inside of this connective tissue, just like our tiny muscle cells are inside this big muscle tissue, just like we have this one nerve cell that when you put all together, your whole nervous system is made up of these tiny cells. So we have one left. We are learning about epithelial tissue. Say that with me. Epithelial. Your epithelial tissue is in between your organs and your skin. So let's draw epithelial tissue. In this, we get a whole square. In this little square, I want you to draw a kind of a bumpy rectangle. And we're going to make some straight lines going across and up and down. Epithelial tissue, it's very sturdy and it's tightly woven. It almost looks like a net. So this is going to be our epithelial tissue right here. So I'm going to put a star. Now, on one side of our epithelial tissue, we have some organs. So I'm going to write the word organs, and you'll learn about that next week. And on this side, we have our skin. So I'm going to write the word skin. So your skin is on the outside and your organs are on the inside. Very good. And you have this connective tissue that protects it. Boys and girls, what I'd like you to do after you finish drawing is take your marker, if you have time, and trace over your arrows so you could see how these cells turn right into tissues. And remember, the blood and the bone, they are both connective, and the epithelial stands on its own, where the nerve and the muscle becomes nervous and muscle tissue. I think you did a great job, boys and girls. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I had a lot of fun using straight, curvy, and wavy lines to draw cells and tissues that exist inside of our body. Do you remember the two shapes that we use to draw all of our cells? That's right, circles and ovals. Do you remember the reason why we created thumbnail sketches in the first place? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with making observations. That's right. We wanted to learn what the cells and the tissues look like. These tiny drawings show us all of the small details, so we are able to understand how cells and tissues actually work. So for the rest of the week, I hope you can create more thumbnail sketches of other living organisms. Maybe you can draw some sketches of the veins on a leaf, the wings of a butterfly, the legs of a grasshopper, or even the pollen inside of the petal of a flower. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.